talk at the
Oh, is
same
it me?
time.
Oh, you've
So,
done it. That's fine.
no, that's fine. It's all good. So I just want to introduce everybody to Mark from Smart, who's going to take you through how to get started with your board and Smart Ink, Smart Notebook, all that sort of stuff, because I know some of you have got brand new boards in your classroom. You're really excited to get going. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time, Mark. I'm going to let you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction and the apologies for the chat beforehand to everybody else, but it's always nice to say it anyway. Okay, yeah, we're going to have a look at smart boards, and obviously Julie has mentioned as well. We'll have a look at the new boards, how we're going to do with them. Look at using your connected computer as a starting point, whether that's running like Google Slides or PowerPoint, or opening up any videos or anything from there. We'll just have a kind of quick overview of that, as well as actually spending some time in Smart Notebook and the kind of benefits of that as well. And then just a bit of an overview of everything there with your plugged in PC. And of course, actually now it's got a built-in something where you don't need to plug in your computer. Have a look at that as well. So that being said, that's the kind of the plan and where we're going to start from. I'm more than happy to go off at any other tangents where is needed. If you want to open up microphones and just literally shout out a question, go for it. If you want to pop anything in the chat, either or, whatever's easy for you. Any other questions, any kind of troubleshooting bits you might be coming across, or anything to say like, oh, can you really focus on how we can do something later on as well? Because we are of a large group, I won't just kind of say yourselves, I'll kind of get going into it. But at any point, obviously, just interject and we'll go from there. So let's start with the actual smart board. So if I just minimize everything to start with, what I've started here with is nice and easy, simple start is here as I've got my Windows machine plugged in and I'm good to go. What you'll probably find, yours is plugged in at the side and you've got some wires coming out either into a dock or straight into your laptop or desktop, and that'll be your HDMI cable and your USB cable. The USB cable is going to do the touch. So without that, you've got a really nice telly. But with that, you're going to have touch, you're going to have inking, you're going to have everything as well. So make sure you have got those two cables in. But today, I've just plugged in mine with a single USB-C cable. Just means I can charge it. I can do everything with one cable. It's a little bit easy for me, but it does need to be a certain type of cable. So not just a charging one you get with your phone, but there we go. So once we've done that, I've then plugged in my laptop here, and then it is just a big touch screen, really. Oh, and there's a pen as well. So if I want to open up any application, move things around, it just works like you'd expect it to be. There shouldn't be any calibration for it as well because it is all in one place. You should be able to plug your laptop in and away you go. So you'll see that any applications you want to open, you can just open them right away from in here. But then, of course, if you do want to ink on them as well, you can just pick up that pen and just start inking on them. And that is on anything, whether it's the PDFs, the videos, websites. I can just literally pick up the pen and write on it. And it will know that my pen is that pen and my finger will be the finger, and I can do that at the same time. So if you do want to scribble around and show things like that, great. But more importantly, if you've got multiple children coming up, one can be, they can both be writing on it. Then one can be rubbing out with the back of the hand. One can be moving that content around, and that can then happen anywhere itself. So the simplest start would be go ahead and carry on the way you were teaching beforehand. But that one change will be start inking on something. And that's where we're going to start. So mine is set up and yours should be set up like that. Of course, there's always those, oh, my computer doesn't work like that, or if, but, things like that. Once it does go up and work, it does mean, like I said, you can add that inking onto anything. I can draw on that one, go to a new tab, write on that, come back to that one, and that inking is going to stay in all of those. So just briefly, we're going to go into a few settings and just to make sure that is all playing ball properly. And then we'll kind of progress with that stuff here. So I'm going to click on my start menu and I'm going to find smart settings. So if yours is in the start menu itself, it might be in all and find it through there. You can find it through there. Hello, Isabel. Or it might be that you've got a thing down here as well, and you've got a blue square with a white circle in it, and then from there I can click on Smart Settings. Either way, we're going to get to this menu here. Now, mine's all set up really nicely. I've got a green tick here. It's all connected. It's going to work well. And I've got a few settings in here. If your green tick doesn't pop up, it should do. But if it doesn't, click on that connection wizard, choose the one that says MX, the smartboard MX, and then it should all work as well. And then moving up here, I have got the Smart Ink settings. And this is then just so that inking will work on everything as well. So if I've set up mine, so as soon as I turn on my computer, that Smart Ink just loads. So as soon as I plug it into a board, it all just appears and all's fine. That's that one there. The next one down is this toolbar. So this part of the Smart Ink is these little bubbles here. So on these little bubbles, I like to be able to see two, one for my pen, one for my finger, so I can change both. That's this second one down here, always show those. And then finally, if you're wanting to use inking within PowerPoint or something like that, this plugin here means that I can actually write inside my PowerPoints for that as well. And then you just got a choice whether you're using the Microsoft inking or the Smart inking. Again, your choice which one you use itself. Surprise, surprise, I tend to use the Smart one. I just find it's more natural inking rather than the Microsoft one is a bit more Microsoft-y. Sometimes it gets this right, sometimes it doesn't, and that can either frustrate you or be an aid. But I keep to that one. Those few settings there in that Smart Ink. Through the Start menu, it was in that Smart Settings there as well. Not the funnest place to start, but obviously if those things aren't kicking in, everything's like, well, mine doesn't work like that. That should be there as well. If that isn't, then be in touch with IT and the team, and they'll be able to kind of make sure that is all up and running. Of course, I'll leave my email address at the end of it as well, and more than happy to walk you through any of those things as well. So let's get rid of that Start menu.
Can I interrupt? We're sat in front of our smartboard just now, and we can't find the Smart Ink settings bit. And we just literally got up, and the two of us had a pen each and tried to write on the board, and it's like connected to the computer, but it didn't allow us to write anything. So where are we going wrong?
Okay, thanks for asking. So have you got in your Start menu, you should have all of your within here, scroll all the way down to where it says Smart Technologies, and then within that, you should have lots of different ones.
We have to be on the link for the laptops. We have to be on the HDMI setting for this.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. And you said Start menu, and then sorry, I'm trying to do it at the same time. Smart Technologies.
Yeah. And then in that
Smart Ink settings. Right. Got it. Thank you.
No worries. So that's this is running it from your computer. So yes, I've got in and chosen the input being my computer.
Perfect. And sorry, thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's no. I mean, it's the same old kind of. It's your being the students in this case. So honestly, just ask anything. That's great. Plugged in computer. Start menu, Smart Ink settings, and then just those three boxes there. That should then, as soon as you start writing, you'll have these little bubbles appear here, 1, 2. And once you've got those bubbles, that will allow you to do then inking over anything, like we said. And they will just be over the top. So if I'm on that one, or if I'm going to this one here, that scribble, you can see that those are then just over the top of it, and they just then that inking for it itself. Whilst we're looking at those bubbles here, I'm just going to use a large surface to rub something out. That can be the back of your hand. It can be anything itself, just that large surface. And then you've got two options within these. So if I click on this one here, this is the one for my pen. So now I can change the color of that pen. I can change the thickness of that pen if I want to within here as well. Lots of different ones. That one will change your pen. The other one looks like your finger. So it's going to change what your finger does. So if I click on that one and say that I want my finger to be red, now my finger is red and my pen is still green. The confusing thing about that is that, well, I suppose the good thing about it is I can have all of my learners up here all writing at once with the red. But then if I'm trying to still then select things and it's coming up with that red dot, it's because I've told my finger to be a red dot. So make sure you then click back your finger to be a pointer. Now my finger is a pointer, my pen is still the green one there as well. So as silly as it sounds that a pen is a pen and a finger is a finger, bear that in mind. If you're selecting it with your pen, it will change what your pen does. If you're selecting it with your finger, it's going to change what your finger does because it knows the difference. It knows it's a pen, it knows it's a finger, and then it knows it's that large object to erase as well. There are a few other things within this Smart Ink as well. These in this floating toolbar. It might be something like in the tool chest. And then with the tool chest itself, there's some little tools. I'm not going to go into all the details of this. It's more about here's a few things, go away and kind of play with them. So have a play with writing on something. And then if you're wanting that next step, click on the pen and choose a spotlight as an example. And now you've got that spotlight, you can move around anything. It might be you've got a kind of picture in the background and you're wanting to kind of describe a certain area of it. Mine's just frozen. There we go. Describe that part of it. It might be that you're looking to read a piece of text, so you get it kind of larger here, and then you can kind of move across that text every way you want to from that one. You'll think of lots and lots of different ways to use this. There's a few other things in here as well. There's also that screen shade when you're just kind of reading down a text or kind of showing part of it as well. I can also bring the sides in. If I click on it, it can just change the color as well. So some extra things inside that pen wheel in the tool chest for you just to have a play with, as well as using the actual pens themselves. That will then work over the top of anything, whether that's a website, whether that's your Google Slides, whether it's a video, whether it's anything that you're using already. Pick up the pen, write on it. I'm just going to show you that within PowerPoint as well and get rid of all that rubbish there. And then let's open that on here. One of those I should have opened beforehand because PowerPoint takes a while, but there we go. I'm now going full screen. Now it's in full screen. Rather than having the two dots, you've got this little thing here as well. So now when I do the inking, it's actually in my PowerPoint, as you can see from when I did this last time. So I can ink within that PowerPoint, go between my slides. It's now staying in there. And then if I want any more options, I've got that inking, I've got those pens and everything down there as well. Yes, any questions, obviously pop them in the chat. So now I can ink within my PowerPoint, and then those inking is going to stay in there. So then I can save it and use those, have those for later on itself. They are just objects themselves. So if you do need to go ahead and delete them, or of course, if you are on full screen itself, that inking, that erasing with the back of your hand still works as well. So you can kind of go through and do them manually, whichever way is easier for you. So as a nice, easy start, Smart Ink. Carry on as you were, ink on lots of different things. Right. Looking at something a little bit different is Smart Notebook. Now, you might be familiar with Smart Notebook in various different degrees. We are on version 24, Notebook 24, technically 24.1. Over the summer, it will be upgraded to version 25 as well. There'll be a few extra bits and pieces in itself. And that will mean then you've got this software itself within here. What I find with Smart Notebook, rather than something like PowerPoint, which is very much that presentation style, next, you've done a lot of preparation beforehand and we're just kind of showing it. What you'll see with Smart Notebook is you've got the movement of these objects itself. So I can move this around here, I can move that around here. Actually, within here, a better example, me kind of being that ex-primary school teacher myself, this is something that I used, not quite daily, but it seemed like it some weeks, that I can then bring up a coin here, right, we're counting in fives, 15. And now they're doing it, they're moving those objects. I'm spending less time preparing because I can do it with them in the moment. And I'm not just kind of teaching by kind of going click, click, click. it's actually happening with them here. So I can then pick up a pen as well and write that on top, 15p, probably not in green, but there we go. And I've got that here. Again, next one, rub that one out, move it on to 20p, so the students can have that movement, the student can see it being constructed, can physically count the objects, and they're kind of doing it and they're being involved in an interactive manner rather than just watching it. Things like that really make Smart Notebook powerful. If I just start with a blank slide, this is how it will be to start with, and then you can add in anything on top of that. So if it is pictures like that number line, like a toy, copied and pasted from online, literally just copy and paste them into the whiteboard, use them like that. If you're wanting to use shapes and pens and kind of build your own, you can build them in here. Or of course, if you've got that content you've used already, you can go File and Import, and then I can bring in existing files as well. Whether that is a PowerPoint, whether that's a PDF. If it was a Google slide, I would just need to save a local copy of it first as a PDF or a PowerPoint, and then I can bring it in. Or if anybody's using Promethean flip charts or things like that, you can import those and it will bring those all in as well. And then you'll find they come in as layered objects, so you can still edit the text, you can still move things around and have that teaching tool as opposed to a presentation style. Just a slightly different example of that one here. And again, nicely sitting in a primary background. I've got these objects here. These can be moving around because we have got 40 points of touches on these boards. Technically, you could have 40 children moving 40 animals all at once. Maybe not for elbow room, but the technology is not going to stop that. It's not going to hinder that. So feel free to have as well, realistically, 3 or 4 children coming up, moving these objects, rubbing one out here, moving that one in, or if we're, see if I can get some of these right, be writing it all at the same time on there as well. Because it is a smart board, it can easily know what is touching it and do each one separate. So I can have multiple pens going, multiple fingers going, good to go. Other things within Notebook itself, just as again, as an example, again, it's that showing that content. It's not just viewing it, it's doing it with them. So bringing a protractor, which are up here in the measuring tools, bringing that onto screen, clicking on it, moving the object around, moving the angle around, sorry, and then I've got that construction of that angle built into it. Things like that where they can practically see it rather than having to kind of juggle and hold the big yellow one up against the screen with a bit of blue tack and not make it drop off and whatever we used to do with those ones. Just having a digital version of that makes it much easier. And again, there's rulers within that as well. So if I need a ruler to draw that straight line, oops, let's actually draw a straight line. Let's underline that, shall we? Bit of an angle, why not? So there you go. Now I've got that straight line as well. Although it's a bit of an angle, so I'm going to move on before that starts messing with my head. So things like that will be brought in for and use it within Smart Notebook. It's much more of that practical, engaging way of doing it, as opposed to the kind of presentation bits of software itself. And there is loads and loads of things within Notebook for you to just go and play and have a kind of see what is in there itself. I will leave a link at the end and pop it in the chat just with some useful links of where to go to, some videos kind of recapping what we've looked at today and next. Within it itself here, if I click on help, there is a Smart Notebook training as well. And that's a good place just to start if you just want to know a little bit more about actually using Notebook itself. So within here, just going to look at a couple of things within it. Firstly, I'm just going to look at the gallery at the side here. Because as well as great as starting with a blank page is, things like lined paper, squared paper are in there as well. So if I just scroll up to here and I'm just going to type in grid, the search bar, and then I can click on backgrounds here, and it might be my grid is my squared paper for maths as an example. There was some lined paper as well. You could search for lines and add lined paper. Whatever I need, those are at the side here. I can just search for them at the top there. Also, there are lots of pre-made, lots of things within it. Some of it is very clip arty, so images wise, just copy and paste them from online. But actually, these ready-made resources are really good against some different backgrounds, like a 100 square, as an example, or a brainstorming activity. Loads of different ones within that itself. Have a look, have a play for any of these. Blocks, again, quite a nice background to that, and you can write those on top. An example I quite like to use, I do really like this one. The kind of fraction within there as well. Again, you can customize this. You can edit anything down here as well to have that as you need. So that is all in the gallery at the side here. At the top of the gallery, there's also my content. So your my content is very much the bits that you can use, and you can begin to build up your own bank of resources. Save searching for a number line or a 5p coin all the time. What I've done here is actually copied and pasted my 5p coin, but then I can drag and drop it to the side here. So then I've got that in my gallery that I can use all the time. Equally the same with my number line. In fact, I think I brought a couple of number lines into my gallery. So I had a nice 10 one and a nice 2 one as well. So these can be used whenever I need them. I know that these are exactly right, and they've got that nice little picture clue into the end. Again, these are just, I don't want to say completely stolen, but borrowed from some website. I can't actually remember where it is, so I can't even cite it, but we'll gloss past that. Even things like Numicon. It's just an image from Numicon. Again, it's not going to replace children physically putting their fingers in and counting those holes here. But if I can visually show that, then if I, for example, can infinitely clone it, so let's bring 2 up and let's put that one on top as well. How many have I got here? But I can actually show that for them here whilst they're counting, whilst they are physically putting their fingers in the holes of their Numicon. Then they can count those correspondence there, but they can see it, and it saves me kind of having to stack those on my chest and hold them and then try and support somebody all at once, as an example. So a couple of examples here, but again, you can put that as anything you want to in that gallery. Things that you'll be using regularly, drag and drop them into there, and then you've got that gallery as that quick guide to. Or using these ready-made resources, look for those different templates itself there as well. Things like clocks, things like spinners, timers, dice, all of those are in there as well, different widgets. So feel free to search for any of those as well. And back up to my page sorter. Brilliant. We'll keep going. Feel free to jump in with any questions, either just literally unmute yourself or go for it, or put them in the chat as well. We'll just come and look at some pens as well. And then once we've looked at some pens and a few other little bits within Notebook, we'll look at not connecting your computer and see what that looks like as well. So bringing up a blank page itself here. And again, pen's a pen, finger's a finger, multiple uses of each itself, and that palm, that large surface to erase there. But if I do click on my pens, you'll notice I've got a few different ones that are up on here. I'm not going to go and show you all of these pens. They're very much play, see which ones you like, have a go with them, or of course, just let the children play and they will find them itself. They are at the top here, which is great because it keeps them out of reach of the little ones. You've got an arrow at the top here. So now it puts those pens at the bottom so they're in reach, either for yourself or for them. And then I can also put those back at the top as well. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just going to close the door. Just the dogs. Oh, no, I can't get through because there's a wire in the way. The dog started barking, and now that's in my ear as well. Never mind. Moving on. So looking at here as well, I've got these different pens within that itself. So it might be just using a pen, using a highlighter. One at the bottom here is the shape recognition pen. So I can draw those shapes, whatever they might be, or kind of my irregular ones as well. All of those can be drawn with that pen itself here, because that pen is now a shape recognition pen. So have a play with those, see which ones you like, see which ones work well for you. That's a good fun ones to play with. Equally, adding text at the top is here, adding different shapes, different lines, lots of great things to kind of construct and make that lesson and use it for you itself. So Notebook. Brilliant. So Smart Notebook is that interactive piece of software, that very much that whiteboarding side of things. Anything else being Smart Ink, hopefully we've got the settings ready for those fine now, and they can write on top of anything on our connected Windows computer, or if you are using a Mac, it's got the same for that as well. What I'm going to do now is to press my home button, and that is now not going to use my PC at all. Now, there's going to be two different versions of this. Most of you have probably got the newer version. I'm just going to very quickly show you the older version first. So pressing that home button might look like this, might look like the other one. I'm going to really briefly go through this one because I don't think any of you have got this one, either because you're coming to it from the newer side. This is the slightly older version. If you have got this one and you want me to go into a little bit more detail, say so and I'll slow down. Within this one here, firstly, there's my input. So I can change my input into my computer that's connected. Pressing that home button closes those apps. I've also got a web browser in there, so I can just go online and access any of that content. And equally, there's my whiteboard. So my whiteboard now is with nothing plugged in. I have still got a whiteboard I can still annotate. I can still write on it, adding lines, whatever it might be. And then I've got lots of pre-made backgrounds within that as well, like the ones that we saw in Smart Notebook. There are a few other tools and bits and pieces within there itself. And there's also screen share available to you here through the screen share. I won't show you through screen share because it's also in the other one. I haven't seen anyone that's popped up saying that one. I don't think anyone's got that one. Again, there is more material online. This is called IQ3. We're going to look at IQ4 and spend a bit more time with that one itself as well. But again, if you have got that one, want more look at it, we can do it another time. So I'm going to press input now, and I'm going to go into this here. When you press your home button, it is probably going to look something like, oh, mine's just done a restart. Great. Yours will probably look something like this in a moment when it has loaded. This now is a newer version of Android. It's a different chip in the back. So with mine here, I'm able to show both because I've got one of the older boards, but I've put like a thing in the back, a new chip in the back. Really easy to do. So says Jim. And then this here is then the newer version of it. This is IQ4. With this IQ4, what it enables me to do is to really sign into my account. So now without my laptop connected, I can load any other apps that I need to. I can go into my online content. I can have those passwords stored. I can have my lessons kind of remembering where I am. And I can really use this as a device, as my device, and I don't need to use my computer. It's more like a full Chromebook in itself here, rather than the other version, just because of kind of Google's restrictions then, it didn't enable more. So you can already see that it looked and feels a lot more like a Google device. Even if I scroll down from the top, I've got that menu. I've got all my apps and sales here. There. So out of the box, what you'll see here in this IQ4, the Android Chromebook plugged in thing, is within here, but if I've not signed in, if I go to my files, for example, I might be looking at my Google Drive. Oh, I've got nothing. In my site here, I can't access anything. So rather than signing in individually, because then it's a kind of public-facing version of it, I'd have to sign out for everything. Come to that in a moment. The same for a web browser. I'm not signed in, so any passwords or anything, I'd have to type in manually for those there. What I can do is to sign into my Chromebook now, so it becomes mine. The IQ I can sign into by clicking on this person down here. So clicking on this person here, it will give you this here. It will, first time you sign in, ask you to kind of, are you sure? Yes, yes, things like that. Sign in as you normally would setting up a device. Use your normal school email address. It can be a Google one, it can be a Microsoft one, whichever one you're using for that itself. So to get to that access here, either you're going to scan that with your phone or iPad or something and kind of two-factor authenticate it on that device. Or if you haven't got anything with a camera, it does give you a website there and then asks you for a code and the same process comes in itself, whichever one works for you itself there. Once you've set that up, You have also got the option to set up an ID card, which, surprise, surprise, I've already done mine. So with my ID card, I can then sign directly into this, and I don't need to scan that QR code. 2 of these will have come in the box with each of your boards. Where they are now, hopefully in that box somewhere that somebody knows where it is, it's the same box that the pens came in. And within that itself, they are obviously that size, and it's in a little brown envelope inside that box here. Then you have 2 of these. What that will enable you to do is to use this NFC reader here. So I've just put mine kind of behind my ID card itself here. So if you are using another one for school, just put it behind or something like that. Then I can tap that on the board. It's just going to give me that 2-factor authentication. So I'm going to type in my pass code as well, my PIN, type that in there. Oh, sorry, click next. Just to double check that I'm logging in, it's going to check that again. And then I am now in the board. And what you'll notice now, rather than that public-facing version, what I've got here is now my version. So the wallpaper's changed to the one that I wanted. I can go onto the second page and it's already got all of the apps that I need, whether it's the Microsoft apps, whether it's the Google apps, or any kind of anything else that you're wanting up on here as well. If you're wanting to have one of these as a shortcut to Glow or anything from like that, or the LoveLearning main website, you can have any of those on there as well, and you can have that as a favorite, and then that is in your account for that as well. Just got a quick something here. I don't think we'll be able to sign into your corporate account. It will be your Glow account. Is that right? Yes, it's the Glow account. There we go. So when you sign in with this person here, use your Glow email address, and it'll work great. Now I'm in that one. I've also then got access to everything on here. If I do want to add any app, I can just download it like I usually would from the Play Store. And then I can have those on here. And then if I'm using, for example, PowerPoint, I can open up that PowerPoint. The first time, you will have to sign in, but after that, it will remember it. And then there are all my PowerPoints I'm using there. If you're more of a slides user, then all of those are going to be in there. They're all then saved in there as well. So now I'm thinking, well, I like plugging in my laptop because I've got all of my content ready for me that's saved in on online something. Okay, I've got all that there. My websites that I can do, they're all here as well. I've signed into my browser itself, so any of those signs in, like signing into Glow itself here, that's going to remember for me. The inking works the same. I can just pick up that pen and write over the top of it, erasing that content as well. It does give me a few extra options within here. I will have more options within pens and with everything itself. We are building those out. That'll just be in a free over-the-air update for that itself. And then I can just discard that and all that inking's going. Now I'm beginning to think, well, if I've got that, I'll come onto the whiteboard in a moment. It now might be a serious replacement for my laptop. Again, I'm not saying it has to be. It's just an option that you might want to go to. I'm just going to read this question here. I'm signed into my computer account, and it wouldn't go to my Glow account, and then I had to sign in with my Glow account on Google. That might be the one there. Okay, so a few of those technical questions there, which account you sign into. If you're not sure, ask Julia, ask the team there, and they'll let you know kind of sign in with this one or not that one, and how to kind of properly set that up for which one itself there. It sounds like it should just be your Glow one and the Google side of things, and you're good to go. Brill. Web browser, and that one there, all my different apps. This is then my front board here. If I want to change any of my settings, everything from there as well itself. But of course, we need a whiteboard on the whiteboard itself. So I'm going to click on the whiteboard. Now, this is then your whiteboard itself here. You have got these tools. These can be moved where you want to themselves here. There is an update coming in the next month. Again, it will just happen. Don't need to worry about it. It'll probably happen overnight. So you'll just come in and say, oh, you've got some new things. Well, just a comment on the side there, you must use your Glow one to log in. So in that new update, if I put this at the side here, it can be a vertical one as well. It just means that I can move it. If it is in the way, I can move that toolbar where I need to for itself. But again, the same applies. Pen's a pen, finger's a finger. I can move that around, erase that content. Oh, stop bringing up the erase. There we go. Erase that content, whatever's needed, all that there as well, as you'd expect. The backgrounds that we looked at in Notebook and on the other version of the board are on this add button. And then within that add button, again, the same ones are in there, so I can bring that in and use that as I want to. The same for those digital manipulatives, like we looked at that fraction wall, those are all in as well. Now, I do want to move that to the top so it's out of the way. Within that whiteboard, you've got your different pens. So I can choose a different pen that I want to in here. If I want to just go back to this page here, add in other content, it might be here that I'm searching the web for some different content itself, bringing in different pictures of things, getting the children to search for different pictures. It is a complete safe search for this as well. So do feel free to let the students bring in any of that content. Or of course, I've got something stored in the board. I can bring that straight from the board itself. And now because I've signed into the board itself, it might be that I'm bringing objects in from a Google Drive or from anything else for that as well. Into the whiteboard. So I can then bring those objects into that. And again, there's other tools within here, whether it's just using squared paper, adding squares, or again, using things like that compass. Again, like the one that we had in Notebook, just make that a bit bigger, not that big. Clicking on it, moving the green dot around the outside, and then again, the same thing applies. I've got then that angle to be kind of moved out as well. So there's some really great ways to use that whiteboard itself within the area itself. If you are trying to bring in any file types as well, you can bring them into here, so then you can use those in this file itself. And then if you're wanting to share this out with learners, you have also got that ability as well. Clicking on your people here brings up a QR code, and then I can share this whiteboard out with my learners as well, so they can see it on their device. So it might be for example, having this whiteboard, but might be only just one device. And with that one device, with a student that's got an additional adult as well, that maybe then they can see it on their device. And as you're kind of looking at that angle, they can see that angle in front of them and have that there. If you do it with the whole class, they can all connect as well. There's not a limit to it. Also within that there, you've got the ability to convert this page to a whole class whiteboard. So what I can do then, by converting to a whole class whiteboard, it then gives the learners tools on their device so they can annotate, they can draw it as well. It does only give you options for the whole class, so it is a bit carnage. There is a paid for version on top of it, which does give you group work. It does give you individual work. That's if I have got a Lumio license, that smart software license. We're not going to cover that today, but we can come back to that another time if needed. Then I'll give you some training links at the end if you do want to kind of go and have a play at that with there. Do make sure you press start first as well, otherwise that won't share. So then that shares out to the student devices, and that can share your whiteboard and then that content with them as well. Pressing that home button here takes you back to home. Again, closing that app. You've got lots of other apps that you need them from in there as well. Looking at that screen sharing, that is another app down here. Then rather than sharing out the whiteboard, actually I want their devices to be shared to this board itself. I've got an update running. So what will happen here is then I can use this like a built-in Apple TV for my iPads. It can also work for Chromebooks. It can also work for Windows devices as well. There is a bug with Chromebooks, having just said that. We go with a third-party company for this, and they have made us aware that Chromebooks aren't working, and it'll be a few weeks. So just kind of bear with us for that stuff here. There is an update. I'm just going to double check on settings. Just click done, update. Go for that one. And what this will mean then is I can then share my devices to the screen here. It will only work inside this app, so students can't just take over at any moment from their devices, but I will then be able to then share directly up to here itself. I can have multiple people connected. There's a few different bits in the settings as well, just to kind of go over how do you want it set up, etc. Quite straightforward, but have a look through that settings there. And if you need any support, again, just be in touch. Their devices will then appear up on here once they are connected, and I can click on each one of those there. Let's just give an example as well. So these ones are on the same network for now, for example. I can just scroll down from here, click on screen sharing, and then here I have got my MX, and now I've just shared that directly with the screen there, and then now it's up on here. That's the way I've set it up to just directly work, because I've got the only one up on here as well. If you are connecting lots of student devices, there are ways of kind of permission-based first for that as well. And then scrolling down from the top, screen mirroring off, and then it's back to that screen itself there. So hopefully a really nice and easy way of using that Apple TV style, but built into the smartboard. Closing that app by pressing that home button from here. Just kind of giving you a quick overview of everything itself here. It's just, oh, I've got this, or I've got this. It's very much go and have a play with each one itself here as well. So in a moment, I'm just going to jump back into my PC. Just for the last thing to look at here is this tool chest. And in here, there's clocks, timers, spinners, and bits and pieces like that if you want to kind of use those on the top of the screen as well. So just finally, input. Within my input button here, just showing what is logged in itself. And then I can, the one with the green dot underneath will be the one that takes me to my laptop. So I'm going to do mine slightly differently because mine's a slightly different board to yours. Click back on my laptop, and then it takes me back into my laptop here. So that's an awful lot, as Jim was saying, when your mind is probably thinking on the barbecue and which sausages to cook rather than how can I use my board. But have a bit of a play with each one of those, whether it is just what Mark said was very exciting, but actually all I want to do is to write on something. Fine, pick up a pen, write on something, you're good to go. Anything you want to, inking on anything, write on it. If it's the settings, just double check you've got that as well. Signing out from the board. Fantastic. Thanks, Jim. That's a really important one. So I'm just going to stop everything and go back to that. Input here. So really importantly, yes, massively. So because I've signed into this device itself here with my own credentials, if I was just to walk off, me where I am, it's fine because I only have the access to this board. But what you've got in this person here is a sign out button. If you don't sign out, it really is like leaving your phone unlocked and just saying, go on, help yourself. Huge red flags and all sorts of issues, but we won't go into too much into that. Because you signed into all that content, they can now access everything within there. So you must make sure you're clicking on your person, clicking sign out. It completely signs you out of everything. You can have multiple teachers using the board and they're set up for each account, but as soon as you do click sign out, I can then access nothing of that material. If I go into my files here, I can't access anything at all itself. Thanks for that reminder. So really important to sign out there. Change that input back to my PC. Smart ink, write on anything. It doesn't pop up. Click in the smart settings, smartboard settings, smart ink settings, make sure everything's set up and it should be fine. That will then write on anything. So I want to take it that step further using that smart notebook, that whiteboarding piece of software where I can really kind of engage with the learners like this. That smart notebook, either bringing in existing content, copy and pasting from somewhere you want, and then really kind of bringing it to life and get that engagement interaction with that itself. Or of course, if you don't want to plug in your computer, you've got that IQ, and then you can kind of sign into that and begin to use your own apps, like whiteboarding, screen sharing, lots of other bits and pieces like that. So that's an awful lot to go into this afternoon. I know we're at time. I'm just going to click on one final link here, and I'll copy and paste and put this into the chat here. What this one does here, I can copy, bring across there and put that in the chat. There it is. This kind of Wiklet board, kind of Pinterest style board here is just lots of links. Where can I go next? It might just be, I just want to know about Notebook, plugging in my computer itself here, few videos kind of just to go over essentially what we've just looked at now, but slightly slower pace. A download link, or if you prefer to read through the guides, those are all there in that column of Smart Notebook. That also covers Smart Ink in that section as well. If you're thinking, actually, I want to go and have a look at that, the Android side of things, that IQ, whether it's one of the newer ones, the IQ4, or the older versions, the IQ3, all of that support is within that column. And you'll also find there is a Smart Academy with lots of great training links to that as well. And that will also give you your certificates towards your CPD hours, anything from there as well. Lunio, we haven't looked at, that's the cloud version of it all. Again, there's a couple of videos to kind of start you off in here and lots of training links with the Academy there. Getting started training guide within there itself. My email address, phone number in there. Again, any questions you've got are on that link, so feel free to just ask any questions themselves. And then I do webinars every couple of weeks as well, similar to this, but only kind of 20 minutes, little bite-sized, little and often sessions. And then there's more kind of technical support at the side, as well as if you're wanting to use Windows. So like mine's set up now, if I just show you, with 2 screens. So here I've got my Windows, and here I've got my board itself. So I can see Teams, I can have my register, and that's content not for everybody on a separate display. If you're wanting to look at that, there is a guide down the side here for that as well. So loads of information. I know Stephanie is on the call as well. She's a little bit more local than I am. So she's worked with a lot of your colleagues in Aberdeenshire as well as across Scotland, because she's based up with you. So ask her for any support and she can kind of find that in for yourself. Or of course, Julie and the team are there to help you or ask me. So thank you very much for this afternoon, this evening. Enjoy the rest of the sun. And thank you.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Mark. Always a pleasure. And if anyone has any questions, I'm just going to stop recording just now, because sometimes